Second is not re-signing Deion Sanders and Ricky Watters after the 94 Super Bowl season. So Ricky Watters was a dynamic player for the 49ers offensively in 1994. He was to that team what Christian McCaffrey was this past season for the 49ers and what Roger Craig was for the 49ers back in the 80s. And Mike Shanahan used Ricky Watters the same way that Bill Walsh used Roger Craig and the same way that Kyle Shanahan uses Christian McCaffrey as a threat in the running game, but an even bigger threat in the passing game. Not just dumping off little passes when the rush is coming or when nobody's open, but just like how we saw Kyle Shanahan line up Christian McCaffrey in the slot or out wide or whatever. Mike Shanahan would do the same thing with Ricky Watters. He would line him up all over the place. He could throw deep passes to him, and Ricky was such a great receiver that he could line up as a receiver and have the same kind of effect as a regular wide receiver. And so he wasn't brought back. And then Deion Sanders, who was the defensive player of the year in 94, and the greatest cover corner in the history of the NFL, one of the greatest defensive players of all time, he wasn't brought back either. And Deion Sanders claims that the 49ers didn't even try to bring him back. And that's kind of what it sounds like for both, that they really didn't make much of an effort to bring either of them back. I thought at the time in 1995, I felt like losing Ricky Watters was a bigger loss than losing Deion Sanders at that time. Now, that seems kind of silly because of what Deion brought to the team and what he brought to the defense. But the 49ers defense was really good during that time, and the 49ers offense lacked that running game threat and that passing game threat out of the backfield. And so the 49ers didn't replace Ricky Watters with anybody. I can't even remember the guy's name. I can see him in my head. Number 20, I think, is what he wore. But I don't even remember his name. He wasn't that effective. And so I think then they maybe brought in Terry Kirby in 1996, but he was no Ricky Watters. And so they really missed that. Now, if you don't believe me, I've heard Steve Young multiple times say that he felt like Ricky Watters was a bigger loss than Deion Sanders. And Steve has even said that if they would have brought back Ricky Watters, that they would have won the Super Bowl the next season. So I think that they probably would have. If not, if they would have brought back both, then they definitely would have lost or won the Super Bowl, because they would have not only had the greatest corner and a great running back, but they would have taken that corner, Deion Sanders, away from Dallas, who won that Super Bowl in 95. So I think that was a huge loss. To put it in current day perspective, imagine if the 49ers did not even try to bring back Nick Bosa, who's the reigning defensive player of the year. What if they didn't try to bring back Bosa? They didn't try to bring back McCaffrey. Let's say they both were free agents and they just let both walk. We would be up in arms. We would be so upset. Well, that's basically what happened after the 94 season. They let those two great players walk.